Hi there, you're listening to Unnatural Selection, the show about newsy type stuff and things. My name is George.
My name is Adam. I was about to say it.
Too long of a pause. And with our powers combined, we are Unnatural Selection. Make sure you visit us at our salubrious home on the web, unnaturalshow.com.
I'm missing our third member, Tom, this week, and I literally...
Did you have to take a second to remember which one you were?
I did.
Is that what that
I'm
was?
that tired that I almost thought I was Tom.
Adam arrives at my house a little while ago to do the show, and I say, "How's it going?" And he just goes, "Tired." Alrighty, good to see you too.
I was like, he's mentioned he had a hammock outside, and I was like, "Could we do a show on the hammock?
Can we do a hammock show?
Do a hammock show."
And at which point I said, "Well, I've only got one hammock, so it could be two boys, one hammock, but I think it might be a very different kind of show. Certainly not the kind that you could live stream over Facebook.
Probably one that we'd get paid for, though.
We would, yeah. The amount of compensation would almost certainly be higher than what we're currently doing. So I mean,
win-win, basically.
I'm inclined to consider it. I'm not dismissing it out of hand.
All right, we'll put it on the board. We'll put a pin in it.
We'll
come back to
We'll
it.
circle back.
Yeah, and
there are no bad ideas in a brainstorming session.
It's the only idea we've got, but that's fine.
There are no bad ones. So there's one good one.
But that's actually a good point, George. Today's show is all about bad ideas and corruption, which is basically one of the worst ideas.
That's a pretty bad idea as far as I'm concerned.
Hey,
Adam, controversial point of view on this on
yes,
the show.
off you.
Anti-corruption, me?
Or I don't know, mate. Look, corruption gets stuff done, though. Let's be honest.
No, it doesn't, though. It does the opposite of that.
It gets stuff done, doesn't it?
I don't think so.
Takes the money from your pocket, that other person's pocket, and it goes into your pocket.
Puts it into your pocket, which I suppose, in a way, is getting something done. Well, you've turned me around on corruption.
Yeah, done. See? Oh, wait, you're corrupt. See how they get you? It's so easy.
So easy.
Yeah, it's so hard. Look, first up on today's show is a story here in Victoria from the city of Casey. An upstanding council that's currently being investigated by IBAC, which is the Independent Broad-Based Anti-Corruption Commission.
I thought that was when you studied extra in high school.
No.
What was that called?
I don't know. I went to a school in another state that didn't have studying.
It was the IB, International Baccalaureate.
I don't know.
Oh boy, have I derailed the show.
God, you've just gone. I thought I was the one that was delirious, but I'm trying to stay on point.
So do you want to tell people why you're delirious?
We can. I mean, it's a bit. I could do
International Baccalaureate. Read 'em and weep, boys.
Nailed it.
It's like extra high school.
Extra high school.
For huge nerds.
I was going to say for dumb people or smart people?
No, for even smarter people. Smarter people are like, I'm too international for your fucking Australian rules. I'm going to go do my own thing overseas. I'm going to go work for the UN or something, you plebs.
Yep, I've often wanted to do that.
I've often wanted to scream that
in
a crowded shopping centre.
I have.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's the middle of Chad's. I went there the other night. It was chaotic. I just wanted to yell at everyone.
Yeah,
I'm better than you.
That's how I feel going to the shopping centre.
No, I did a 24-hour outdoor laser skirmish event, and
cool.
I'm cooked.
So what's involved in a 24-hour laser skirmish event? And is it just military LARPing?
It is. It's exactly military LARPing.
Yeah.
But you kind of have to run up and down hills lots. And it's like a video game, but in real life with exercise.
Not making it sound less nerdy.
No.
So question. This was the place that you and I went to when we introduced ourselves to a gentleman.
Yeah.
And he said, "Call me Wolfpack." Is that correct? I said, "Hi, I'm George. How's it going?" And he said, "Call me Wolfpack." He
may have said that. There was an incident where that happened. I don't think he's been back recently.
Wolfpack?
No, Wolfpack's gone. We'll miss Wolfpack.
See, the thing is, Wolfpack suggests a plethora of people.
It does. Multiple people, because you are a pack of wolves.
Can't be a singular and be a Wolfpack, is what I'm saying. You
can, but you're overstating your own brilliance. I think if that's the case, there's no I in Team America. I don't know why I said that, but anyway. But no, look, it was a good event. VLSA, check them out. They do some good stuff.
Victorian Laser Skirmish Association. Yeah,
Mm.
I have to say, like on the few that I went to back in the day, it was good fun. There's a bit of gear that you need.
Yeah, there is a lot of gear.
There's
so much gear.
Not insignificant, like little sort of barrier to entry initially, in terms of like you need to have camos, you need to have.
But then you go and buy all the gear, and then you just get really sweaty. Is the weird thing.
What do you mean?
Well, like like it's just extra layers of stuff you have to wear when really all you want to have is just a t-shirt and shorts because it's like, you know, breathability. But anyway, yeah. But there is a gear. There are geardos amongst us.
You are definitely a bit of a gearhead as far as like military stuff is concerned.
I like gear.
Adam likes gear. What can I say?
Yeah. Sidebar to the corruption story, but
sure.
It would explain if I say anything random today. That's why I've said it.
So if Adam passes out or starts giggling deliriously, or tries to operate heavy machinery,
put me down.
Yep.
I give you full authority too, George. You can just
gotta
take me out the back and shoot me.
Lights out, old Yeller.
The time has come.
Sorry, old boy. I hate that it's come to this.
Now is the time.
We were talking about corruption.
Yeah, corruption. So City of Casey is being investigated by IBAC, Independent Broad-Based Anti-Corruption Commission, because of some payments that went to a couple of councillors on the council, amounting to a total of something like, I think it's $1.2 million over a period of time, because they essentially were getting paid that by a developer for what one could assume would be favourable approvals for developments within that council.
Yeah, so Sam's and his related entities amounted to close to $900,000, and Jeff Ablett, Councillor Jeff Ablett, totaled more than $330,000, which seems like a pretty large discrepancy.
No, it's just a gift. It's a gift, George. It's a gift
through a couple of shell corporations.
No, I mean, look, I mean, it's all tax deductible, so no worries.
I don't think that any of that's true.
No,
I don't
it's
think
not,
you
but
really
that's fine.
even know what that means.
No, I don't. Yes. So
you're telling me that city councillors that vote on large-scale development projects where people stand to make millions of dollars shouldn't be taking literal cash money from the exact people for whom...
Not literal, but it can go electronically. That's fine.
Oh, okay. Bitcoin is okay.
Yeah, Bitcoin, Ethereum, straight up. Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, I had some Cardano coins sent to me.
Yep.
So that's fine.
Yep. No, it's non-traceable.
Yep. Well,
obviously.
it's very traceable, but I suppose as long as you don't have the
tech,
the name of the person, like... I'll have a Bitcoin wallet ID. Like the whole thing about Bitcoin is like the whole blockchain means every part of every transaction is always tracked. You don't necessarily know who it is, but if you know who it is, then you could conceivably backtrack that transaction to like the start of time.
Yeah.
So
forever.
A bit of fun crypto knowledge.
There we go. Crypto with George Sipos on a Sunday afternoon here.
Yep, and for the low price of $5,000, you too can learn about cryptocurrency from me, a self-certified expert in cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
So
and what was your qualification from?
Just fucking School of Hard Knocks, mate.
School of
Life.
Look, School of Life is it's obviously a well-respected one.
Do you think that it is possible that I could have amassed $300 to $400 million in cryptocurrency without being a genius? That's why I need to sell you my course for $5,000 to $7,000.
Okay, I just want to click past this link. Is that okay?
No, you're not allowed to skip this one. This is the full 30 seconds.
Damn it.
This is the one where you've watched 5 videos and YouTube says you've had about enough, haven't you, mate? Here's a 30-second commercial that you can't skip.
And then they're always walking in those videos. Have you noticed that? Walking, or they're sitting there like we are now, staring at the camera going, I'm going to be very like, oh, no, you'd click past this. I'm like, no, I wouldn't click past this.
You're probably too busy to click past this. You don't want to be a millionaire because you're a moron, aren't you? And I'm like, no, I'm not a moron. I'll watch 7 to 12 minutes of your content. Yeah, no, it's all you need to do is plonk down a cheeky $5,000 investment, and you too could be a cryptocurrency millionaire.
Yes, that'd be
Why am I wasting my time teaching this to other people and flooding the market with numpties when if I'm as good as I say I am at this thing, surely I wouldn't need to charge people thousands of dollars.
You just described acting, George. What are you talking about?
I don't know. Sounds a bit sus to me.
Now, we were talking about corruption.
Fucking hell.
Corruption. The 3 projects in question were the Cranbourne West Precinct Structure Plan, the construction of intersection in Hall Road in Cranbourne West, and development of the Pavilion Housing Estate.
So with these developments, one of the major ones was that it turned a particular one of the votes that these councillors made turned various areas from industrial to residential land. And if you're a property developer, this could increase the value of this land by $100 million.
If you rezone some land, that's like neck level. It just opens the gates, basically.
Well, because if it's industrial or farmland or something like that, and then all of a sudden you can put,
double the amount of structures on it.
10 square meter houses on there at $600,000 a pop. And that really will change the scope of that landscape pretty substantively. And if you're a property developer, you stand to gain quite a bit as a result of that. So
we'll put as many houses on the block as possible.
Yeah, we'll put a Coles. There'll be a train station eventually.
Yeah,
we'll hook it up to some sort of services. We'll airdrop a doctor in at some point, and it'll be fine. It'll be a brand new suburb. Australian dream.
Yeah. When will that be done by?
2047.
Sorry?
2047.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said 2047.
Yep. Yes.
Right.
So in a mere 3 decades, this area might be inhabitable.
Right. How much was the house again?
$700,000.
Sounds like a good deal.
I got the trims, the gold trims on the things.
You sold. Done.
Yeah, the edgings on the. So basically, millionaire.
Yeah, basically.
So
yeah, done.
Australian dream. Get it in, yeah.
It's a bit, So look, that investigation is still ongoing. We'll see what comes of it. The Herald Sun had a lot of fun with Mr. Aziz, which because I think he fled back to Egypt or something.
Well, fled is like a very slanted term.
Well, this is the thing:
he
is
did
that
sell his house and then leave the country.
You didn't really hear about the other guy on the front page of the Herald Sun. It was all about this Sam Aziz bloke. And apparently, I was like, I feel like you're targeting him because he's a Muslim, to be honest. I mean, he obviously has the lion's share
of the money.
Of the corruption money. But it did feel a bit like, oh, God, you're just sort of, naming and shaming at this point, aren't you? Anyway, I like a bit of class in journalism, guys. That's all I'm asking for. Bit of class.
I do. I don't mind a bit of naming and shaming.
You want to name and shame someone, George?
Donald Trump.
That sounds like a segue. A segue to, some crazy
Can you believe we've only been doing this for 10 years?
It feels like we started this yesterday. God.
Does it? I can't believe it's only been 10 years. Feels interminable.
So, Donald Trump doesn't use a computer very much.
He uses his iPhone pretty frequently, which is,
he's one when he makes a speech, he's one of those guys that likes to have handwritten notes. Have a nice cue card up in front of you. When I say cue card, I mean not like a little A5 card. I'm talking a piece of paper that's much larger than that, sort of A4 to even larger, and the writing on it, it's not size 12 Times New Roman. It's a little bit bigger than that.
It's big. It's real big. Like when he does handwriting, it seems like cartoonishly large.
Is it his handwriting? That's the question.
Yeah, of course it is. That's the same as his Donald Trump signature on this page as part of this story.
Well,
so did we fit like the corruption, like the council has just fled the country? That's it?
Well, the council, it's ongoing. One of the councillors is in Egypt, and we'll see what happens.
It's a very unsatisfying end to that story. I just kind of felt like
there was some
sort of satisfying.
No, I just wanted to sort of
resolution.
Make a point about how local councils are quite often corrupt.
It sucks though, because it's like it's one of those things that so few people are like really paying attention to it. It just feels like it's one of those things where
there's always people that will pay attention to it, but whether or not they've got any power in the situation to actually do anything is another question.
It just seems like so easy to, if you were in that situation, to rot the system and to generate a bunch of personal wealth as a result of it. Like, it just seems far too easy. Like, why is this not being looked at more?
Yeah, it's one of those things. There's just so many city councils in Australia. I think that the system's a little bit sort of jilted that way, where there isn't as much oversight as there should be. Each state and territory's got their own system for reviewing local councils. Like in Tasmania, I think there's actually the state government investigates the council, and there's a minister which has to then pass a finding if there's a problem. So it depends. But Victoria's got IBAC, so get excited for IBAC and their findings. Isn't that nice? Just get you excited on the inside.
Get you excited about IBAC.
Get the juices flowing.
so to speak.
But as we talking about Donald Trump,
yes,
he gets the juices flowing.
Yeah, oh boy, does he, ladies.
Every day. And his cue cards have become the subject of scrutiny this week, shall we say, because they don't really contain a whole lot of information. There's probably, 10 words on each sheet?
It's kind of, it's like an A4 piece of paper, and he's got maybe 20 words on there.
Written in big black text or paint, we're not really sure.
Does he always write in Sharpie?
Sharpie for a sharp man.
I don't, and there's also things that he writes down. So the copy of the notes that we're looking at is he made a very, very, very odd speech on at the White House concerning the whole Zelensky, Ukraine, Russia thing, but he's written, I want nothing, I want nothing, I want no quid no pro, tell Zelensky to do the right thing. And it's it just comes across almost like song lyrics. There have been a bunch of people that have noticed this online and have then taken it and actually made it into made it into music. So here's one which sounds like the Ramones. So enjoy this. But it's
they really captured his narrative voice there.
It's
I think,
just weird that he's written down, I want nothing, I want nothing. He's written it down.
Is this why maybe Donald Trump doesn't have a weird speech intonation problem? Maybe it's just he can't write things properly, and
I mean,
then it comes out weird. Do you know what I mean?
This man is beyond parody at this point. At this point, I really just want to go. We've all had our fun.
Can we get real?
Can we just get rid of this prick already? There's the impeachment inquiry, which will then decide on articles of impeachment, which will then be filed. It'll be well into his 4th term by then. Can we all agree that he's the worst, and
he needs to go.
He needs to go away now. Please.
Well, just wait till the next election, George, so that people can have their say.
4 more years. I bet you $5 Donald Trump will get a 2nd term as president.
No, I'm not going to take that back because it's probably quite likely. The other thing people have done with his handwriting is they've created a font. I love a good font.
Sure.
Always been a fan of...
font fan?
Frick, what's the one? I can't remember what the font that I normally use is.
Frick?
Font, frick, fruck, fruck, frick. We'll just go with Times New Roman. Times New Roman is gross. Korean U is the Korean U is the typeface one, isn't it?
Yep, that's the one that looks like a typewriter.
No, we don't want that one. Anyway, so this font is called Tiny Hands, aptly named, written by a man with tiny hands that writes in really big writing.
Yep, no, got it.
Yeah, see the irony there. The difference.
It's not really irony. It's just accurate.
Yeah, okay. And so you can download that for free. If you go, just Google Tiny Hands font, go and download it, get amongst it, and you use it in your essays, because I'm sure universities will love it.
Sure.
Not a fan of it?
It's fine. I think it's funny.
Do you think there's a font?
I'm not going to use it for anything. It doesn't seem...
I think it looked good in your shop window. If you had a shop or something, you could for sale. Nice for sale.
If you want to attract people in with the scrawlings of a lunatic madman who's hell-bent on destroying the world, then...
it's very attractive.
I mean, I guess. Well, it's all capitals as well. He doesn't write in cursive. He just writes in block letters, like a 4th grader or something.
Maybe that's it. Maybe he never finished the 4th grade. Maybe that explains this whole thing.
You're saying if he'd received a proper education, he wouldn't be the venal, cowardly, myopic, terrible president that he is today.
I mean, possibly. I don't know what his education actually was, but...
just needed a bit of Socratic method. Just get in there and ask some questions.
Why
do you think that?
School of Hard Knocks, as you said before, George.
School of Hard Knocks.
He's a businessman.
He's not a businessman. He's a businessman.
We need Tom back.
Do we?
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
So, yeah. Is there anything else we want to talk about Donald Trump? He did this week that was amazing?
I just want him to go away now, please. I just don't.
Really?
I'm
After
tired.
6 years? Yeah.
Like, it was fun. We've all had our fun. The first 3 years were funny with the Trump impressions and the hands and the tiny hands and the memes. We all had our fun. But now it's getting a bit tired now. It's 2019. We've had him in for... We've had him for ostensibly since 2015. He was running, so he's been around for 4 years. We've had enough Donald Trump. Let's go back to being incredibly bored by the milquetoast president. That's the normal way of things. Someone quietly doing, genocide like LBJ, with Vietnam. I've watched a lot of Vietnam documentary lately.
How good is that documentary, by the way?
The Ken Burns one. It's real good.
It's real good.
Deeply.
That's what Tom Hanks narrates,
upsetting.
right?
Does he narrate that?
I'm pretty sure Tom Hanks narrates it.
Tom Hanks from Big?
I mean, if you want to use that reference, sure. I mean, I would have said like Castaway, Saving Private Ryan, any of the other, Toy Story.
What about Sleepless in Seattle?
I mean, yeah. I mean, yes. Yeah. I mean, it's
Tom
esoteric.
Hanks narrate the Vietnam War? No, it doesn't
I thought he did.
look like it. Bryan Cranston narrates the Vietnam War novel, The Things They Carried.
Well, I'm just gonna have to go back and rewatch it.
I would actually like that. The Vietnam. Who's the narrator of it? Peter Coyote.
Okay, well, I stand corrected, and now have to go and sit in your hammock for the rest of the afternoon.
Also, fucking the name Peter Coyote. Is that how you pronounce that? Coyote.
Yeah,
Coyote.
Yeah.
Peter Coyote is like the fucking most badass name for a voiceover
What's
artist
your name?
I've ever heard.
Peter Coyote.
Just Robert Fox.
My name is Peter Coyote.
Max Power. It's just like a strong name.
It is a strong name. It's very masculine. It's very American Midwest, kind of rugged.
Ed Wolf. Like
Strong.
George Bald Eagle or something.
Yeah. I feel like he would mean everything he says. There's no, hyperbole or...
I can't get anything past the coyote.
No. He's just very straight down the line.
Certainly not.
Well,
there you go.
Yeah.
Ken Burns documentary. If you've got 10 to 15 hours to feel sad about Vietnam, would highly recommend it.
Go check it out.
Speaking of devastation in America, there is a new advertising campaign that's made the rounds on the internet this week from South Dakota.
South Dakota. Great state, South Dakota.
Do we need multiple Dakotas?
Is there a North Dakota?
There's a North Dakota and a South Dakota. I feel like we could just have one Dakota.
Well, look, they're very different people, George.
Are they?
Yeah. No, they're...
How so?
Well, one's north and one's south.
One's from the south.
So you see how it's different? So they're very different people.
Different areas. I see
different
what you mean
areas,
now.
so therefore it's going to be different.
Should they really get 4 senators between North Dakota and South Dakota?
I mean, they're different states. So
There's like 12 people there, and two of them are senators in each state.
No, there's definitely in this video I'm about to talk about. There's definitely more than 6 people. There's 7.
Okay.
Yeah, so obviously worth the extra senator.
It seems like it was designed, that system, to deliberately be preferential to conservative, sparsely populated states. No?
Well, maybe that's how you hold the union together. You give them power.
I don't like the sound of this at all.
That's
Democracy, respecting people's rights.
No.
Not a fan.
And fabulous advertising campaigns. That's what it's all about.
That's how you get things done.
Yeah, exactly. What do we need? We need a fabulous advertising campaign.
And when do we want it? Within the scope of 8 to 12 months.
Yeah, I mean within the project guidelines, obviously.
Obviously, we've scoped out. We've
Yeah.
done the budget, and when do we want it? In a not unreasonable amount of time, due to
so October is the launch date, but we'll push that back by 3 months because of corruption. Not that there's any corruption here necessarily. This is just someone. I reckon probably what's happened here is, I don't know whether it was an internal thing or whether or not they maybe outsourced
I thought you were going to say it was an intern.
No.
So they paid. So this was a company.
It was a company
that they've outsourced this
Outsourced
out to
it
in
'cause
South Dakota, and they
small
came
government
up with the slogan, "Meth, we're on it."
Meth, we're on it.
It makes it sound like. So what they're saying is we're aware of the problem, and we're on it.
We're on
it. Don't worry about it.
We're on it.
Is it saying don't worry about it? I don't really know what it's saying. This is a very confusing ad campaign, and they've paid this advertising agency something like $447,000.
I think they're saying it's impacting. Meth impacts everyone. It's everyone's problem, and
you shouldn't have to wonder about an advertising campaign, I guess is what I'm saying.
But
because it does make it sound like everyone is admitting to being on methamphetamines.
They are saying meth. I'm on it. I can see.
They're saying I'm on meth.
Well, there's a full stop at the end of the meth, so it says meth.
Meth.
New idea.
I'm on it.
I'm on it.
I'm on meth.
No, I mean, you argue against that. I don't know. Can we play the clip? Is there a...
I'm not trying to be, deliberately...
it does say... Look, I'm not gonna, it does literally say meth, full stop, where, as in, we are on it, all in capitals.
Which does make it seem to me, as an uninformed person, as though the entire state of South Dakota is taking methamphetamines.
Well, I mean, yes, maybe they are. Maybe that's part of the problem, that they're on it.
It's a stellar defense you've mounted there, Adam.
Look, I'm running out of ideas at this point, so...
But
look, it's shot really nice. There's a nice cinematography to it. I think they have a broad range of broad demographics they've picked. I love the font they've used. I'm about the fonts today. And the colour grading's quite nice as well. So, what a great little product they put together for, how much did it cost?
$400,000 plus.
$449,000. So US dollars. So basically close to $1 million Australian dollars.
Oh,
probably. Obviously, they just took that out of the chocolate fund.
A little bit less than. But yeah, I see what you're like. It doesn't look good.
No. I mean,
it's not a great look.
The taxpayers of South Dakota.
Here we're in Victoria.
No. I mean, we're talking about South Dakota. The taxpayers of South Dakota, obviously, we want to use their money to the greatest value that we can get out of it. And for that, we're going to outsource it.
I legitimately do appreciate the idea of doing something. Like, you've got a really bad drug epidemic problem in the state. You should do something about it. However, I don't think that spending $500,000 on an ad on an awareness campaign. It just always awareness campaigns always seem like such a fucking nebulous thing to me. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, now we're all aware of it. It's like, okay, great.
Is there?
Did we do anything about it, or
No.
did we spend $500,000 on frontline services to actually address the problem? No. But now we're all extremely
aware of it.
just very aware of it.
Which means that now when we walk down the street, we're probably going to assume someone's on meth.
That's meth. You see that? I know that
meth.
from the television now.
Yes, and I will walk away and avoid helping that person.
That's the American way. So we've got the commercial here if you want to hear it. It's a lot of sweeping vistas of farmyards and football players and things like that.
Oh, it's good sound composition.
Very dramatic.
I'm on meth.
I'm on meth.
I'm on it too. So am I.
So am I.
I'm on meth.
Meth is not someone else's problem. It's everyone in South Dakota's problem. And we need everyone to get on it.
I'm on it.
I'm on it.
I'm on it too.
Meth. We're on it.
So they're on the problem. They're working on the problem. That's the message.
Yeah. But it does sound like...
You know what? And my question was going to be...
the first guy was literally like, I'm on meth. I'm on it. Like, as in I'm actually taking meth. That's what it sounded like.
The good thing is they did include, and this was going to be my question, did they include a narration? And they did, and that helps provide context to the piece. If sometimes, you can just... People can get a bit confused without a voiceover, so... I think that probably makes it a bit clearer.
There was a little video from Governor Kristi Noem, who's the governor of the state, and she was defending it. Hey Twitter, there's a tweet. Hey Twitter, the whole point of this ad campaign is to raise awareness, so I think that's working. ... #thanks. #meth. We are on it. But again, it just makes it sound like the governor's on meth. Like. That's why is my brain broken? That's what I think. Here's a little.
I know.
She's got a little video statement where she talks about
correct.
it. Okay, here we go.
What up, please?
I'm Governor Kristi Noem. South Dakota's meth crisis is growing at an alarming rate. It impacts every community in our state, and it threatens the success of the next generation. This is our problem, and together we need to get on it. If you see something happening or you know of someone who needs help, call 1-800-920-4343 or go to onmeth.com. Let's get meth out of South Dakota.
But you notice she doesn't say, I'm on meth.
She doesn't know, but
And there's a reason for that. It's because that would sound
silly.
very silly
That'd be
coming
silly.
out of a governor's mouth. Because then people would be like, oh my God, did you hear the
The
governor of South Dakota's on meth?
How good are headlines? No, but look,
They
I
must
mean,
have been on meth
in
to come
terms
up
of the
with this
advertising,
fucking campaign.
in terms of the
like-
advertising campaign, now they're right. It is working. People are now discussing it because it's
No.
so ludicrous.
No,
It's
I
so
don't think that's the
ludicrous. Everyone's talking about it, and actually, if that's what they were after, then
That's
I guess
not the point.
we
If you
need to hire
if you
these
wanted-
marketing
if
guys.
you
They know
wanted-
what they're doing. Broadhead Co. That's what they call Broadhead Co. Let's get them down here, and we'll get them to spruik our show.
Yeah, we could get on the front page of the national and make some international news. Unnatural Selection, we're on meth. Unnatural Selection, we're taking drugs. Like, don't be confused about it at all. Just be like, Unnatural Selection, a bunch of drug addicts who take drugs. And we've raised awareness for the problem. We'll get, if you're wanting to raise awareness, what does raising awareness do? Like, you could get, Kermit the Frog,
Well, because it's
spread eagle, vomiting, doing meth, and then you're just like, people are like, what the fuck is this? It goes viral, and you're like, raising awareness. We're raising awareness of this thing. Are you doing anything to stop it? No. But now we're all extremely aware.
Hyper alert, but not alarmed.
Extremely, alarmed, but not alert.
Probably what it is actually, in all seriousness, they're probably trying, because America has a large philanthropic, side to it, and a lot of public, charities are philanthropically funded. I suspect that would be appealing to businesses and other rich people to sort of contribute to help the situation.
To getting on meth.
Getting on meth.
As it were.
Getting on meth. Right on.
Getting on.
Right on meth.
To get on. Getting on meth.
Yes. Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think we can.
How is that confusing?
I don't think we can.
How is that so obvious? Yeah, anyway. Silly.
It definitely sounds like it's pro meth. That's what it sounds like. It sounds
as if it's normalizing meth.
They
like
had
meth
to
is
say
okay.
in the article, the anti-drug campaign. I was like, yeah, because it's not clear to me that it's not pro-drug campaign. This is extremely confusing.
No, it's just a discussion, George. It's all about just raising ideas and discussing. It's like what we do on this podcast. We just discuss and say things into the void.
That's why we're taking meth on the show right now to raise awareness.
Raising awareness.
Awareness.
How good is this, man?
For the plight of
football players.
Just strong
and farmers.
Strong old white guys.
Sorry, he's on meth, so he's all good. He's on it. Right on it.
In all fairness, if I lived in South Dakota, I might be on meth as well. It seems miserable.
I'm sure South Dakota is lovely. I'll have you know. There's none of this
hay,
bagging places of the world.
Lots of hay, fields of amber
You've
waves
never been
of
to
grain.
South Dakota?
You haven't either.
No, so
What's
I
in
don't
South
know.
Dakota? Name one thing that's in South Dakota.
Meth?
No. Well,
it's working.
Technically correct.
It's a meth.
That's the problem with advertising, like awareness campaigns. Is like, now you're the meth state. It's like that's the one thing I don't know any other things about South Dakota other than they have a rampant meth
Let's just
problem.
do a quick Google of South Dakota. Let's have a look and see.
What's in South Dakota?
I've got to type with one hand here. I can't actually do this. Can you do it?
Because he's got the microphone in his other hand, folks. Calm down.
What's
in South Dakota? South Dakota things to do from travelsouthdakota.com.
Okay, let's go with that.
12 top-rated tourist attractions in South Dakota. Mount Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore. That's a
Very
that's a
famous.
crowd pleaser. That one,
Wait,
George.
so you're telling me Team America was based in South Dakota?
That's changed my life.
I didn't realize that was the case.
So American.
Badlands National Park.
Okay.
Custer State Park.
What are they? Not wildebeest.
Crazy Horse Memorial. It's basically just parks. Wind Cave National Park. Mammoth Site. They got some mammoths there.
I like parks and mammoths.
Deadwood.
What's Deadwood?
The city of Deadwood.
What?
Like from the TV show. Gold Rush town.
Oh.
It's just the town.
Oh, I've never watched that.
Canyon actually looks pretty beautiful.
Yeah. I
National
love-
Music Museum. There's lots of guitars.
I love a good guitar.
Yeah, it's basically just Mount Rushmore. Mount Rushmore and a bunch of parks.
I like parks. So, you know what? If I ever go to the US, the mainland, I've been to Hawaii, but if I ever go to the mainland US, I will endeavour.
Not the freak states.
I will endeavour to get to South Dakota and raise awareness for meth and visit Rushmore, and a national park.
Or Round Mushmore.
Round Mushmore, which is the lesser known cousin of Mount Rushmore.
See, now the thing is, if you'd had a bit of meth, you might be a bit more coherent for the show, having only slept for 3 hours.
No, maybe I'm on meth. I don't know. How am I still awake?
No, clearly you're not with it, Adam.
Is meth an upper or a down? I don't even know.
Meth is a stimulant.
Stimulant.
That's I'm imagining from having watched several seasons of Breaking Bad that you would be very much awake and trying to peel off your skin if you are.
I'm
on meth.
good. I'm real good. I don't know whether I'm good.
You know who else is good? Israeli Prime Minister
Benjamin
Tendulkar. Benjamin Netanyahu. It's
his
debated.
last name. I knew I'd pronounce it wrong.
Is Netanyahu has been indicted by his own the Attorney General that he himself appointed on charges of corruption and bribery and things like that.
He accepted lots of gifts.
A lot of gifts.
Too many gifts.
A lot of bottles of Grange.
Yeah, like you could have the one bottle at the at the end of the year function.
I didn't know that this fucking bottle of Bollinger was worth any money, okay? This is just normal stuff that billionaires gift me for some reason, okay? I had no clue that there was any corrupting intent, that the owner of large media companies was giving me gifts worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. There's nothing with no impropriety about that whatsoever.
I mean...
just because I trade favors with a guy who owns a media outlet and then he writes favorable articles about me, which is literally the textbook definition of corruption. Just because he handed me a big canvas bag with the dollar sign on it in exchange for a literal quid pro quo doesn't mean that it wasn't the literal textbook definition of corruption.
I mean, no. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Obviously, he's been in Israeli politics now for the better part of 3 decades almost.
That was Adam putting the cart before the horse.
Ching. And so obviously, he's obviously above reproach for being.
Yeah,
in
anyone
power.
who's been in politics for decades definitely seems
definitely above
like
reproach.
they're above reproach.
Basically,
he keeps winning by all these landslides.
I'd
It's the
say
weirdest thing.
it was so popular.
Yeah, I mean, if don't tell me he's corrupt when he's got 98% of the vote. Okay, mate.
I am so shocked. I'm so shocked.
Shocked and appalled.
Shocked. I wouldn't have expected this from a guy that has alleged war crimes on his hands. Not all war crimes, but there's the whole Israel-Palestine thing, which he's basically been steering the policy direction for.
What's a couple of war crimes between friends?
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, the Israelis wouldn't call them war crimes; they'd call them defensive actions. The Palestinians most definitely probably would call them somehow war crimes in certain situations.
Stealing of territory and building of the building settlements outside the walls and encroaching on literally clearly defined other people's territory.
Gee, the US changed its it now reckons that all the settlements are now legal.
Sure.
The US just changed its definition.
Why not? I mean, if the US can change their definition of army combatant to suit whatever situation they're in at the time, then why not? Why not just let's
rebrand
change
it.
the
Just the rebranding.
The thing is the capital's now Jerusalem. It's all legal. They're they're all combatants. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Walk it off.
Might is right.
So look, the question I have is because it doesn't necessarily mean that he now has to step down or anything. He can still be
here's the thing: is there after the last round of elections, they're still struggling to form a government. Between Netanyahu's party and the opposition party, neither of them has come up with enough seats of a coalition to actually form a governing majority. So it's this weird thing where it's like the country's just in limbo. We've got all these people with their seats. He's the prime minister, and it's sort of a de facto thing. So he reckons it's a coup. That's how he's described it, because he feels as though he's trying to form a majority, and this is a way of his Attorney General sort of sticking the knife in, making sure that he can't form a government.
I mean, if the Attorney General then became Prime Minister, I'd probably blink twice.
Okay. That's
But,
fair.
yeah.
But like, but he's his own appoint. Like Netanyahu appointed this guy. Like, it's not as though he's some partisan hack appointed by the other side of the aisle.
He is an honourable man.
Well, like, it'd be a weird about face to indict the guy who appointed you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't see that happening to Trump with Bill Barr
yeah.
or whatever.
It is very odd. But probably promising in some ways, because you'd think, well, okay, does that mean that, there is transparency in Israeli politics? I mean, it'll be interesting. It's one of those things that, like, I think he's got such a... By this point, you'd think Netanyahu was so powerful in his various influences around the place that it'd be very hard to kick him out in any particular way.
Yeah, but that's also like democracy. That's what democracy is that you have a turn for 20 years or so, and then you put the keys down and you let someone else drive, or 13 years, whatever it is. But like, he's been involved as a staple in Israeli public life for many, many years. And at a certain point, you just got to go, I think you've had enough.
Enough is enough. No, you stuck the knife in me. No.
I'll tell you when I've had enough. Democracy.
Yes.
I actually don't think it's healthy for, like, you want someone to get in and have a reasonable level of expertise, and you don't want to lose all the institutional knowledge every 3 years.
Like,
you
want to give them time.
You don't want to have
develop.
consistent turnover like we do in Australian politics, or it's fucking musical chairs.
Has it been 9 months yet? Okay, let's do a stabby stab.
Leadership spill. Everyone pull out your knives.
It's not going to happen ever again because they've fixed it. They fixed it. Both parties have fixed it.
Piney, the fixer, fixed it. No, it is a thing. It's like, you don't want consistent turnover because that's no good, but you want some sort of turnover. I think once every 4 years, once every 6 years, to have some kind of turnover in government, not necessarily even like switching over to the other side of politics per se, but like different leadership, different people up the top making different decisions.
Well, we have that every 2.5 years.
No, but I kind of feel like, well, with Australian politics, we're actually changing over too frequently. It feels like
there's no continuity.
There's no continuity. Yeah,
continuity and change. George.
Yeah, I know, right? It's almost the opposite problem that we have, where it's like,
it's all policy on the run. There's no forethought. There's no planning.
Yeah, the famous Paul McCartney song, "Policy on the Run."
Policy on the run.
Policy on the run. And hence why Labour lost the last election. It should have been their campaign song.
Policy on the run.
Policy on the run. Political.
I see what you did there, George. It's spicy old dog.
It's too spicy. Sorry, I didn't order the fucking beef vindaloo because this is spicy.
Spicy. I will be interested to see whether or not Netanyahu does, like, what happens next. Like, what's, does he just bunker down and be like, oh, I guess I'll still get the majority somehow? Or is it like, oh, I have to step down out of honour? Or do I somehow get, like, kicked out?
He's still, for all intents and purposes, he's still the Prime Minister. They just can't govern the country. And the thing is, if you get a large enough, coalition together, you can sort of stop supply if you're the opposition. Like, you don't necessarily have to have a functioning majority as much as you can go, okay, well, we don't like you, so we're just going to stop all government happening until we have another. This was what this was meant to be. This last election was like breaking the deadlock and giving either side a credible majority in terms of forming a coalition and actually having a government that functions. And it seems like there's a lot of countries that are in this right now where it's like no one's winning handily. It's all like everyone's like, a few percentage points ahead. And not able to form governing majorities, like
government by a bee's dick. Words mean things, George. I think what it demonstrates is that marketing agencies are doing very well out of it.
Sure,
do you know what I mean? Like advertising strategists and sort of campaign strategists.
Ad company that did the South Dakota.
Yeah, they're doing great out of it. So if you want to make lots of money. Go work for a political organisation.
Is that the lesson?
As an advertising specialist.
I don't know whether like it doesn't seem tenable that this situation can just continue where Netanyahu's just the prime minister indefinitely without a majority. Like it seems too difficult to just keep going on. Something's gonna have to give at some point. It just doesn't seem as though this can go on like this forever.
Yeah.
And there's been rumblings about him and his corruption and, you know, corrupt dealings and all that sort of stuff for a long time. I just don't see how you can...
I mean, it was only about $200,000, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, I guess. Like, I suppose they're Indian corruption scandals.
I mean,
that
if you're
$200,000 for breakfast, but it's not the point. Like,
Adani, what are you talking about? I mean, if you're in charge for like 20 years or whatever it's been.
And the point that I was making, all of that, is to say, like, this is the opposite problem that they have, where it's like this complete stagnation. That's not healthy for democracy either. To have the same, 5, 12 people in charge for 13 years or whatever it is, seems like too long. Like, I think people are dumb and politicians are venal, just like humans are venal idiots, and we're... you know, craven and selfish and shit. And the whole point of democracy is like the understanding that, yes, that is the case. And we just need to turn over the dickheads every so often to get even dickhead distribution across, you know,
you can't have your dickhead ratio out of whack. It just gets too intense.
Too dicky. So that's like part of the understanding of democracy is like, you need to rinse these guys out every so often in order for the system to work.
Give them a nice shower.
Idiots to come in and make different mistakes compared to the old idiots making the same mistakes over and over again. Like that's the central thesis of democracy. So
I think it's a good idea.
It seems ostensibly undemocratic to have someone in power for that long, regardless of whether or not he's there corruptly or using as a result of like utilizing a propaganda apparatus and whatever. Like it seems bad for everyone, bad for democracy, bad for the country. Like I remember John Howard was in power here for how long?
10 years.
10 years. And that was quite a long time for Australian politics. I don't recall many other prime ministers being in power for that long.
Menzies was the other one. 3 terms as prime minister. We've had 3 terms of a coalition government now. But it's been 3 different prime ministers. So
there was Abbott, Turnbull, ScoMo. Has there been anyone else in this last one?
It. But then we also had
we
had Rudd, Gillard, Rudd.
Yeah. There was also so it was the
Rudd,
Abbott,
Gillard, Rudd, Abbott,
Turnbull, Abbott,
ScoMo.
Turnbull, and then Abbott tried to take it again. It was and then this whole situation like that. Yeah, we've got the very opposite problem where it seems like they've got too much stagnation. And we've got nowhere near enough stagnation.
Just hold the phone.
Even though it's the same government that's been in power for the last 3 years, everyone's been playing musical chairs and resigning and moving around and changing portfolios every other week.
Got to have a reshuffle, put my stamp on it, you know.
Yeah, because like, we're with this guy who was voted against an empty chair, so we're out and the other person's in. Like, it's all a lot of jockeying for position. It feels like it's like and also like, how does anything get done if they're just like, you're the minister for entertainment and now you're the minister for youth affairs and now you're the minister for energy and now you're the minister for defense, and it's like, how you could be good at like maybe one of those things. Like if that's your area, if you're a scientist, you could be minister for energy and actually have a chance of having a clue of what the fuck you're actually talking about. But the idea that you could just switch back and forward between all of these different portfolios and have a fucking clue what's going on, to me seems kind of like ludicrous.
You know what we could do instead?
What's that?
Absolute monarchy.
Just get a real stable hand like Prince Andrew.
Yeah, Prince Andrew, great example.
Bring him in.
Great work with... no, I'm not going to say that.
He did some great work on that BBC interview recently.
Yes. He presents well. Well, I mean, sometimes not in that BBC interview.
No.
But some might describe it as a train wreck. Some might just say it's an exaggeration.
So he was interviewed recently talking about his association with Jeffrey Epstein, and just basically
an upstanding individual.
Who definitely didn't kill himself, and it just seemed everyone was like, the royals like, hey, don't do this.
Yeah.
Hey, Andrew, could you
Hi, how you going? I was just
Hey.
I just want to really sort of address the accusations that have been levelled at me.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was
So
thinking I'd do an interview.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't do that.
No, but it's a great idea. Like, I
No.
reckon I should just come out and
No.
say, let's do an interview.
No, let's not do an interview because
Okay.
you're just going to draw further attention to the problem.
Okay.
And you are a grotesque moron who is just going to completely fumble this thing to hell.
No,
So I
mean,
would really sincerely
probably do
recommend
it. Just do a little one. Just do
No,
a little one. Just
Not
part.
even.
Okay.
It's even worse if you
All
do
right.
a short interview.
All right. Well, look. You know what? I hear what you're saying. I
Uh-huh.
hear what you're saying. I'm not going to do the interview.
Great, fantastic.
Does the interview?
No. Andrew, why?
Not just for a little bit. For 50 long minutes.
But, like, it's one of those
Prince
things where it's
Andrew was
like,
grilled
it
by
would've-
a British journalist.
It would have gone out of the. It'd be out of the news cycle if you just left it.
No.
And-
It's best to just.
Why do these royals have any illusions of competence that they're just like, no, I can handle these fucking journalists. Don't worry about it, mate. I'll fucking talk to her. Just sort it out.
Yeah, he's just
Just
being
get in
open,
there, have
honest.
a chat, just
you know,
have a nice,
nothing
honest,
to
open
hide.
chat.
Nothing to hide.
Nothing to hide, and I can't recall anything
No.
that's happened in my life.
Recall anything was probably the what. It's probably the
I
title.
can't recall. I wasn't aware.
Wasn't aware. Title.
So your Jeffrey Epstein was charged with molesting young girls, and then was subsequently invited to your daughter's 18th birthday party. Yeah, basically had no idea about fucking anything anywhere. So
The invitation went out beforehand,
Oh,
so
just the
obviously,
invites-
once
the
the
invites
invite's out,
The invite's out.
once the invite's out, we've got no choice in the matter.
Mate, if I had to disinvite every child molester to my daughter's 18th birthday, we'd have
no
no
one to
guests.
come.
No one to come. Who amongst us that hasn't molested a child cast the first stone? You know what I'm saying? Where are you taking me? Why am I arrested?
The best part about it, one of the best parts about it was
It's just an absolute dumpster fire of an interview.
Oh, it was
I
horrible.
encourage you to check it out.
one of my favourite parts was when she goes, "There's a photo of you and the girl that's making these accusations."
Against him. you
Yes,
mean?
yeah. She's like hugging him basically, and she's like, "Do you remember that photograph being taken?" He's like, "No." Is that you in the photograph? Yes.
Yes.
So how do you explain that? I don't recall. just like he goes, "Oh, it could be doctored."
It could be. Is it? Nah. Nah.
Do you ever remember meeting this girl? No.
I
And then,
don't
and
remember.
the best part was she's like, so she remembers you dancing at a nightclub and sweating. And he's like, oh, that's funny you mentioned that
Because I don't sweat.
I don't sweat,
Because the
ever.
Falklands.
and
it's just like-
overindulgence in adrenaline or not overindulgence,
He's
but
he goes-
overstimulation.
He got overstimulated in the Falkland Islands War and therefore can't sweat, so she can't be telling the truth. I'm like, what
But
am
like,
I watching?
but also,
what is happening
but he
right
also
now?
had this thing where he was like, at that time I didn't sweat.
Yeah, now I sweat.
Now I sweat.
Now I sweat.
At
I
the
got over
time,
it.
didn't sweat.
I got better.
Now, look, all of this may be true, but he didn't. It's the whole thing of like, don't put the defendant on the stand. You know what I mean?
You can't. This is one of those things where you just need to go on a private jet and be elsewhere until everyone forgets about it. The news cycle is so short now. It's so short.
Yeah.
People just forget about it. Trump will tweet something dumb in 38 minutes, and no one's going to be talking about this. Like the fact that you've gone in and made it and done an interview has like Streisand affected this whole thing into a new plane of existence. There are people that didn't know anything about the allegations against Prince Andrew that are now all over it as a result of this interview. Like
I didn't
it's
know
just,
that they were like
it's just amplifying.
serious until he did this interview. Do you know what I mean? 60 Minutes actually in Australia did a massive story on it. I think the girl that's levelling these accusations may live in Australia now. I'm not 100% sure there, but yeah, I mean, and this isn't just like a one-time thing. This is like, she's alleging several incidents or whatever.
It's just never good to get your doughy inbred face on television and denying stuff. Like
Doesn't work.
denying stuff just makes you look like you did
Well,
the thing.
he didn't even
This is
deny
the
it.
thing.
He didn't even deny it. He just said, in a lot of instances, he just literally said, "Oh, I don't recall."
Why would you, if you can't remember any of the things that have ever happened to you in your life, why did you consent to being interviewed
And
about them?
and the other answers, he's like, "Yeah, my staff said on that day I was doing this." Like, do you remember? No. But he does remember going to a particular restaurant because I would never go to that restaurant normally, so I do remember going to that restaurant. And in fairness to him, it was something like 20 years ago, some of these events, or 15 years ago.
I would distinctly
But-
remember not molesting someone, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And the photo, it might be doctored, but it looks legit. He's like, "Oh, it's a photo of a photo or something." I was like, "Is it though?" Is it just a photo of you and that girl and you're trying to avoid the situation now? Anyway, the other thing that they grilled him on was how could you not be aware of Epstein's...
Not that we're trying, to be clear, not that we're trying to give advice to people to get out of being responsible for your child molesting crime. Like, if you have committed crimes, you should be an absolute idiot and do an interview about it and then get caught out and go to jail. Like, I don't know why we're like trying to help Prince Andrew in this situation.
I think I've been watching a lot of The Crown lately, so I feel kind of I'm on the royal side randomly.
Olivia Colman, good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. Great acting. Apparently they're changing the actress again soon.
Yeah, I think it's two seasons of each, or
I don't know what the formula is, but anyway. Yeah. So look, Prince Andrew, you fucked up. That's the end of the show.
I mean, he might have fucked up, but he can't recall.
Of course. Sorry, that is very presumptuous of me to assume that.
On that note, we have been, we are, and we always will be Unnatural Selection. Make sure you visit us at our salubrious home on the web, unnaturalshow.com. It might be. I don't know. I can't recall. Make sure you follow us on all social media that do or ever will exist at what might be at Unnatural Show. Who knows? On Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at George Tsipos.
You can follow me on Instagram at AC Doreen.
And you can follow our business partner, Tom. Business partner, not a friend. Tom at Tom D. Heath on Twitter, I believe. And make sure you go to our website, unnaturalshow.com, for stuff and things. Make sure you rate us on your podcatcher of choice. So rate and review us so people can find the show. Any parting words, Adam? What were you doing on July 20th? July 20th? July 20th?
Don't
July
recall, 20. That day doesn't
well,
exist.
let me finish the question. July 21st, 2076.
I'd have to get my staff to check. I don't actually recall.
What were you doing yesterday at lunchtime?
I was just masturbating furiously.
No, come on, keep it classy. Thanks for listening, guys. We love you, and we will see you next week. Was that when you were on your overnight trip with all the guys?
No, I don't recall.
Alrighty then.